to Desire to Inspire. It's your mama's favorite podcast. You already know. Dylan and Freddy. I will keep wanting to say 1 week. But at the time you are hearing this, we are 1 day away from our final max out of this bulk here.
Hell yeah, baby.
Mm-hmm.
I was telling you before this, Dylan, that you guys are lucky I was sick, brother. Because your boy's feeling good. I keep saying this every episode this year. I just keep saying how I'm feeling good, and it's the God honest truth, brother.
Well, you can feel however you want to feel. We'll see. We'll let the results speak for themselves.
Why don't my numbers go down?
Sometimes. Dude, that'd be some shit. But, if they do, it is what it is. I'm just honestly proud that everybody stayed consistent through the thing. And, nobody was like, fuck this. We've had a few little variances here and there, like people letting off the gas a little bit, or, injuries, or you had your eating disorder. But everybody stuck with it, stayed the course, and that's all we could really ask for.
They did. There was some good shit talking throughout it, and it was fun. No, you're right, because everybody was off at opposite times, and now it's just the thing's over with. I mean, we're here, we're doing it. But I almost wish that we were all in the same vicinity, because I think that could have been a lot of fun, because we could add weekend lifts and shit like that. But again, like you said, I mean, we all stuck to it for the most part. We all had different goals in mind and objectives. I mean, I literally went from just a maintenance type of workout, just feeling good and being in there for my mental health more than anything, keeping that crystal clear, to actually putting some weight on the bars and doing something that I've never really done before. And so it's cool to see me challenge myself and even see my form and stuff like that improve over the weeks, to be able to even just lift a little bit more, because the form's changed and is different.
We kind of talked about it offline, how you kind of want to keep it going, which I don't know if you actually would keep the bulk going, or for how long. I think it could definitely help with strength, and if you're trying to put on size, but you never really would want to put on size. But do you foresee yourself staying on the more heavier lifting side of things, or do you see yourself going back to more of I'm just here for maintenance, here's my 4 sets of 8 and I'm chilling?
I'm going to keep this going. So my goal right now, or what I want to do, so I'm going on that cruise in March, but my goal is to continue this bulk style until March 1st. And then, as I've talked about on here last year, we all know that one of my biggest insecurities is putting all of this work in and being comfortable, not necessarily showing it off, but wearing tank tops and stuff like that. I've never fucking been comfortable wearing. Yeah, I swear. And so the pump cover, as I called it, I might have even made some content around it, but the pump cover is staying on until March 1st. And then it's coming off, and I'm going to wear a tank top to the gym and let the game show, because I'm seeing striations, I believe they call them, in places that I haven't. And my upper body, I finally feel, is getting more defined, and that you can tell I have shoulders, you can tell I have pecs, you can tell my traps and all that. So I'm going to keep this going through February, and then come March, I think I'm going to do not necessarily a cut, but just lean out a little bit, because again, I think it'll pay dividends from the way I've been training right now, and I'll actually be able to see stuff that I haven't seen in the past.
I think even because I kind of train this way year round, whether I'm in a bulk or I'm training for a race or whatever, my weight training doesn't really change. I just kind of change the frequency in which I do it, which now I'm lifting 6 days a week. Mm-hmm. So I think we're naturally going to lean out regardless, just moving into the Spartan race. Just kind of adding in a little bit more cardio is already going to lean us out. But like I said, I think we'll probably discuss this as a group next week, since we're all running the race. Well, I guess tomorrow for everyone listening. But to kind of figure out what does our plan look like? Because I probably am realistically going to drop to 4 days a week of lifting, and then 2 or 3 cardio. I don't want to go crazy. And even if I go 3, it's not going to be some of them will be on the same days I live, so I have some full days off too.
Mm-hmm.
So that's one thing I want to get back to. It's a full day off.
Yeah, you and Antonio don't, in my eyes, take proper rest, but everybody's different. Everybody does their stuff. It's just like me. You guys know, like, I don't fucking work out on weekends, and that's no other reason than...
You don't work out at all on the weekends? Ever?
No. Mm-mm.
Oh, see, I go crazy if I don't. I just structure my days differently.
Yeah. Our structure and our, like... our structure when we go into the gym is completely different. So mine is all structured to knock it out Monday through Friday. And then I might do like something, golf or walk, or like I usually bike ride. Like I usually do something in that realm, but I usually don't step foot in the gym on the weekend just because I do everything that I need to. I hit everything I need to for the proper like reps and sets during the week. That the weekend is more for like cardio rest, but like not an intense cardio or anything like that. Like going out and enjoying fucking God's gift. And that's the sun, air, and nature that's going on around me.
To kind of like go off of the mental health thing, that's kind of why I don't like to take too many. Like I couldn't take a weekend off. I know that for a fact, but I took off yesterday, which was Tuesday, just randomly. I was like, I really don't want to lift. I'll just go make sure. I did get my steps in for once. Haven't got 10K in a while, but we're back. And
dope.
But outside of that, it's like I need to be constantly going, or else I just like my head. I get all fucked up. And if I missed a whole weekend, I can tell you I would not be going back on Monday. 2 days in a row for me, and I'm not going back on Monday. So I structure it differently. It's like I will never work the same body part without having at least 2 days of full rest in between for that body part.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So, that's the way I operate.
I use the weekends too now for this new like structure of like content that I'm trying to put out and like videos. So like last weekend I filmed enough stuff for probably like 10 plus videos. And then like a bunch of other things, which kind of like gets me around this topic that I heard, I forget who it was talk about, but it was like talking about, setting a goal and then reaching that goal and not being satisfied. And so like, for instance, like let's talk, not switch completely off of this like program that we're doing. And so like we got in this like bulk program because we wanted to X, Y, and Z challenge ourselves, whatever it is. But like the average person that is trying to get into the fitness space or the mental health space sets these goals that they're so hard on themselves for. Oh my God, I feel this way. Oh my God, the scale's this way. Oh my God, my clothes fit this way, blah, 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 blah. And they work and they stress themselves out and work and give up and then get back to it, all to like hit that goal. And then once they hit that goal, it's something new that they're bitching, they're stressing, they're this or that. And they're so like caught up in their head that the outside forces give a fuck what they look like, what their gene size is, what the scale says, how their hair looks like, all of these different things that we perceive the outside world to view us as. And it just got me thinking, like, we need to start taking more time to appreciate the moment and like why we're doing these things. And so like, not everything is going to have a fucking answer of why we're doing it or why we want to. Like the Spartan race, I couldn't tell you why the fuck I'm doing it other than I know it's going to challenge me. And I haven't challenged myself in that realm of endurance in a very long fucking time. And I think it's going to teach me something just like this bulk did. It showed me that I can achieve X, Y, and Z. I can put on muscle mass. I can lift something that I was once told I would never lift because I was the little guy, like all of this stuff. But the moral of the story, the moral of that little rant that I went on is have goals, but don't let those goals dictate everything else that's going around in your life. And like use those as a driving force to get somewhere. But understand that once you hit that fucking goal, there's going to be a new goal that you want to hit. There's going to be something you want to change. And that magic number on the scale or the magic number in your pants, that sounds weird. Don't get any weird thoughts. But the like your waist size and stuff like that, all of that stuff can change. But make sure you appreciate it. You give yourself the kudos and then you figure out why you want to go to the next step or what that next step looks like instead of constantly just diminishing yourself and beating yourself up with the way you talk to yourself. Really?
So the way I talk to myself, but I don't celebrate wins ever. Like when I set a goal, like I don't really take time to like ever celebrate that goal. It's like, all right, on to the next, and I immediately pivot to the next thing. Like, I mean, this bulk's not even over, and I'm already fucking in Spartan race mindset, honestly.
Yeah.
And I think, like, obviously we'll have a chance to, I don't know if celebrate's the right word, but, like, we'll be kicking back for the night and, like, hanging out and going out. So I guess that could be considered it. But, like, if I was here doing it and, like, we did our max outs, I would not take time to be like, oh, good shit. I would just plow right on through the next thing.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't know. I feel like a lot of us are, but I think it's the journey to get to said goal. So maybe it's not even like once you reach that goal to celebrate. It's throughout that journey and throughout that process that when you do start getting on yourself because you're gaining the weight, say for instance, in this like bulking phase, like, yeah, this is meant to gain weight and things of that nature. And so throughout the process, stop and be like, this is why I'm doing it, or this is what it's going to do to me. This is how it's going to make me feel, and realize those things instead of just constantly stressing about that overall factor. Because once you get to that overall factor, it's going to fucking change. It's going to go to something new, and you're just going to keep repeating the process. And so you look back and 11 months out of the year, you're saying something bad to yourself instead of appreciating and realizing like, fuck, I'm doing a lot, but my mind is always going to change. The way I view things is going to change, and I just have to deal with that.
Yeah. I definitely, like, if you're talking bad, let's shift that narrative for sure. I wouldn't necessarily say I'm there, but still could take some time to celebrate some small wins. Not to get super off topic, but I want to go back to something you said before we kind of got into this conversation about you structuring your weekends around content and that you filmed enough for like 10 videos. When you, which everybody films or creates content in a different way, so this is literally curious just for myself. When you, like, say you film enough for 10 videos, do you have 10 ideas in mind, or are you just generally recording things and then you use it as, like, time goes on and ideas come to you? You just kind of use it as a background filler?
No, now that's how I used to be, is that way that you were talking about.
I just remembered you're doing this Basics 100, so you actually have.
Yeah. And so the reason, because I think that is a good point and a good question. Last year, I was just turning the camera on because I knew that I had to, in quotes, meet my quota, because Dylan's posting on these days and I have to post on these days because they're my days. And so I was like, fuck, I'll just turn a camera on and put some words to it and some music. Because again, I didn't know this like why or like what I wanted to do. Now I know what I want to do, so I'm working towards that and I'm building it. And so some of it might be driving 30 minutes away to go to some park, or it might be driving 30 minutes the opposite way to go to a farmer's market or something, like whatever it is. I don't know. But
should
now it's
all
farmer's
market, or was that just an example?
No, that might be one of like the basic 100 things.
Okay. I thought like you meant like this last weekend, maybe you went to a farmer's market. I don't know.
No, this past weekend I didn't. It was one of the ones I wrote down because I have an idea for it about like, we won't get into it. But so now I'm more strategic about it, because I'll still be like at the gym or we'll be somewhere and I'll like turn my camera on and be like, oh, I'm going to record this and not have a direction for it. But majority of the stuff that I'm doing now, I have to have it laid out. And it's the same thing that goes back to what I was telling you with blocking my days out. Beginning of the mornings, I'm doing X, Y, and Z, knocking those things out, and then I'll add something to it if I have time. And then I get into work, I do work, and then I get off of work and I do my thing. So the weekends are planned out the same thing. It's like, all right, I got these 25 ideas. I'm going to try and knock out as many as I can with doing and going to the different places. Knock those out, and now it's just checking the boxes, really. It's like, okay, I know what my plan is. I know what my strategy is with DTI 100, but also outside of that. And so now I just need to execute it and go after it.
No, that helps, because if you have like a direction of 25, those 25 are going to last weeks. Like the way that we post, they're going to last for weeks. And then you have time to think of, okay, what do I go to next? Whereas honestly, I don't have as much direction. Like I have a list of ideas in my phone that I just, like, when they come to me, I write them down, similar to like our sticky note shit, because sometimes they're on that. But like I'll just like jot all these ideas down and not know like what the video aspect of it's going to be yet. So I've just been getting better about like when I record a vlog or something like that, I set it up so that it has like 3 different parts to this video. So I'm in different areas. So if I have to zoom in and use it for a TikTok or a reel, I can. So I'm just trying to like get better at repurposing my shit. Cause I have so many videos on my computer from like the last 6 to 8 months that could realistically be used, like, cause there's so much shit in there, but because they were filmed for a vlog, they don't translate well. So I'm trying to like find this happy medium where I can, instead of spending hours and hours a week filming, I can just like focus in, do this film for 2 days and just have enough to go kind of across the board for everything.
Yeah. Yeah. It's, I mean, I'll have random ass ideas pop in my head. So like you said, I'll jot things down. So that way, when I do have the time to actually put like a camera behind it or a video or something like that, the ideas are there and laid out. And so that's what I was telling you. Sometimes I'll lay in bed and I'll have this random ass idea come to me. And so I'll turn over real quick and I'll jot that idea down. So that way I can brainstorm about it the next day, or with the sticky notes, write that down real quick, stick it on the wall, and I come back to it, because now I constantly have ideas. But like you said, I'm repurposing that idea into a newsletter, into a Facebook or tweet, into a quote, into like whatever the fuck it is. Now that one video that I was like, oh, I'm just going to throw this up and not even look to see like the interaction it's getting or whatever. And now I'm like, all right, I'm going to make a post about this. I'm going to make a video with it. I could post a picture on Facebook, like all these different things. And it's really resonating with people more. Like, all right, posts don't get a ton of engagement right now, but that's not what we're focused on. It's about the consistency and like constantly getting better and spreading this message. And I think we are improving on all those things drastically. But like, bro, since I like found a focus and found a niche, like things are getting more likes. They're getting more people interacting like on the back end of it with like DMs and stuff. And so again, it's about the little wins right now and just figuring out what that looks like, because even these videos that I'm doing for DTI 100, like they're going to constantly get better over the next 98 that I post. So it's just fun and exciting when you have that like passion behind what you're doing it, like we do. The whole DTI is a brand, but then when you figure out what you want to post and how you want to create the content, it just comes so naturally, and it's like putting it together. Even the fucking lemon water one, I had so much fun filming that, just because I was like, oh, let's see how I can make this different. And it's something so fucking basic, but it's something that I enjoy doing every morning, and it makes me feel good. And so I hopefully like somebody else tries that. And I had 3 people be like, oh, I'm going to drink some lemon water. Thanks. Like, cool, drink it. So
yeah, I think that for both of us, the podcast is kind of like the top level thing anyway. Like, it's the thing we like to do the most, and it's like where we probably spend the most energy. But realistically, like all of this stuff now is literally just traction for the podcast, which is not how I think we envisioned it a year ago. Like we did not see like every bit of content we have just pushing to the podcast, but you can see like people are coming to find our other content from the podcast. Like our podcast channel is growing way faster than any other platform we have. So it's like, we're not saying anything fucking out of this world or like some huge fucking revelation here. Like, we're saying basic shit. We're just literally trying to catch your attention in 15 to 30 seconds enough to be like, oh, let me go see what these guys are about and see if I want to hear them in longer form content, which I feel like is where we thrive, is in where we can sit down and talk, like show our personality, because we can do all kind of viral fucking trends online, and I'm not going to enjoy that. I don't want to
do that shit.
I don't want to post it. I don't want to be known as that. Like, I'm not about to get on here and dance for you. I'll tell you that right now.
No.
If you want to come hear some guys bullshit, that's what we're here for.
Yeah, I mean, because we're talking about real life stuff, and we're not talking about things that are unattainable or unreachable to people. Is unreachable a word? Not reachable? I don't know.
Out of reach? I don't know how you'd say it.
Yeah, but it's like real life things, because at the end of the day, if we don't realize how short this life is that we have here, and don't start appreciating it for the good and bad times that it brings, we're going to live in this fog and in this mentality of just like, I'm existing, I'm here, I hate everything that's happened to me, I hate all the situations I've been in. I'll act happy when I go out and meet people, but I can't wait to go sit back down on my couch. And our message is to like show people how much more there is to life, that you can go through hard fucking things. You can have situations happen to you, but it's all a learning process. It doesn't mean you're a failure. It doesn't mean that you're a piece of shit. Like, Some things are harder than others, but guess what? Every single person can get through those if they have the right habits and mentality in place to be like, yes, I fucked up, but guess what? I learned what I don't want. And like, there's people struggling out there right now with like fucking losing a loved one. I heard it again that somebody lost somebody that they loved. There's people that, you know, were living their day-to-day lives perfectly fine. And next thing you know, they have to go and get a procedure done. There's people that, you know, get allergies that makes it life-threatening that they didn't have 2 days ago. There's people that are locked up in prison right now. There's people that are figuring out how they're going to lose to 75 pounds because the doctor said if they don't, then they're going to die. There's people that love smoking cigarettes and want to quit, but they can't. Like, all of these things that are so like detrimental to our health and our mental state and everything like that get so clouded because it's like, oh, this is what they told me. This is what it is. This is how life is now. Like, I can't get past it. And you can't. You just have to find that driving force. And usually that driving force is when you go through something hard. I saw something yesterday or a few days ago, like pain is the adhesive to life. And then it went into, it said a guy, but I'm going to say a guy or a woman or a male and a female has two lives. The first one, and then the second one is when they figure out the purpose of life or when they go through something hard in life or something like that. And they explain it with the analogy of like, when you go through something hard, and I'll use me, for example, like losing my father. I can tell you that once I got through that dark path of not being okay with it to learning how to be okay with it, I saw this like new outlook on life, which had birthed our relationship to get closer, to create DTI and like spread positive messages and like help people get back to the basics of taking the filters off of life and just appreciating the things we go through. And I can tell you for a damn fact that there are so many things in life that I look at different because my driving force now is my father. I want to do it for him. Not that I need to prove him anything, but he taught me the little shit in life. He taught me what's important. And I know that if I sit here going day to day, just the way that I was, bro, I don't know how much longer I would be here because I didn't want to. I didn't know why this and why that and why do I have to go through it and all of this stuff. But when you sit back and you're like, all right, life's good. Like, my mom's still happy and healthy. I got my granny. I got my aunts, my uncles. I got a great girlfriend. I got a nice apartment. I am living in a different city than I grew up in. Like, all of these little things that just give you more and more life because there's more and more energy and like things going on around you that are focusing towards your mission or your why. And so my North Star, I'll say, is my dad, and realizing that, like, knowing he still had things that he wanted to accomplish, he wanted to do, people that he wanted to make up with, all of that stuff, that it just ended. He didn't know he was going to fucking die that day. And so I don't want to go out of this world, like we were talking about 2 episodes ago, or 3 at this point, of knowing like there was still something left in him. There's still something in him being me. I'm talking to myself, but there was still something left in you. You still could have done this, but you were too busy complaining about all the bad. It's like, no, shit happens. Life goes on though. And we got to realize that shit.
Yeah, I think that that's a very key point to that, though, is that you can look at everything else going on in your life. Where I feel like so many people get fixated on the shitty part of it that they can't see themselves out of it. Which, that's not to say that you weren't there. That's not to say I haven't been there. I think it's very normal that when you do go through hard shit, you do like have this shutdown moment.
Yeah.
But then like it's very important to recognize everything else going on. And sadly, like, not everybody does. Like, some people literally just live in that darkness forever.
Yeah, and that's
rough because I know what it was like to be there for. We'll call it 3 years. Let's be generous and say 3 years because it's probably close to that. But like, that's a long time, man. And I don't know how anyone does that for decades.
I know, and that's the thing. And this is what what I guess I'm trying to like get out of that, because what you said is the key fucking point. Is most people don't know how to get out of that. And then what does that lead to? It leads to poor physical health because now you're not actively moving. You're sitting on the couch because it's so hard to get off of it. You're not doing things. So you're constantly in your head about that situation or the thing you went through, that it's just constantly beating at you day in and day out because you're just staying home. You're not doing much, but it's doing the little habits and these like basic things in this world. You have basic things that you do to keep you mentally and physically in shape. I have some. Joe Lee has some, But what it consists of is constantly doing something that's challenging you. And sometimes that's just getting off of the couch, and instead of buying dinner on your way home from work, eating that and sitting down, it's skipping that place, going home, making dinner. Because as we've talked about and we've preached so much, Dylan, is that it's not just making dinner that's going to make this evolve or change, or your mindset evolve and change. It's now you got to think like, oh shit, I got to go to the grocery store and I got to get these ingredients. So now I got to get in the car. I got to drive there. I got to pick them all out. I got to cash out. Fuck, I'm going to have to interact with somebody. I don't want to talk to anybody. I don't want to fucking talk to nobody else today. All right, fuck. I'm going to go there. I'm going to get this stuff.
Check out.
Well, hopefully they don't have those. But you're doing all of these little steps where your mind is off of the topic that's weighing you down. And so now you're not taking those 50 minutes sitting on the couch, reminiscing and thinking about those, creating scenarios in your head. Now you're spending 50 minutes worrying about other things. You come home, then you cook the dinner and you eat it, and you sit down and you might be like, God, I don't want to do that again. But then those things start compounding on each other and they make it easier and easier. And it's just one thing leads to another. But if you can't even get that one thing, no matter how fucking little it is, started, that's why you stay in this position of depressed, anxious, fat, whatever they are. Like, I mean, there's different things. And so it's just taking that leap and that step to just go out of your way to try to do something different. So that way it's getting your mind off of that topic that's hurting you so much inside, to be able to release it, because you don't know what somebody's going to say to you. You could meet somebody and they could give you a random ass compliment or like tell you something, and it just brightens your day and you're like, oh my God. And it just rejuvenates you to even like push through the rest of that day.
It is very important to get your mind off of it, but you got to do it in the right way. Like what you're saying is like doing it in a very productive way to get yourself out of that hole. Because I never had the problem of like sitting around on the couch for hours at a time. My problem was that I filled that time with things that were then destructive to me. I spent the whole time around, I don't want to say negative people, but like people who weren't pushing for anything more. It was constantly drinking, eating like shit, like all of these things that then compound in the opposite way. Like now it has a negative effect on me, and none of it, sure, my mind wasn't on like the main issue, but it's creating all of these new issues. So like it is very important to say like, yeah, get your mind off it, but like make sure like what you're doing is constructive for your life. Because it's very easy to just go out today and mindlessly go through things. Like it's important to like really focus on yourself, because that's where the growth is going to come from.
Yeah. Everybody copes and deals with things differently, and some resort to food, some resort to alcohol, some resort to like staying on the couch, not getting out of bed. But the main thing is just like, we know as individuals, when we get in these states, like you said, we know what's right and wrong, but like it's easy to go towards what's wrong. And so like drinking or eating bad or staying on the couch is like the easy part. But it's finding that. And so like for that instance, it's even like go one less day to begin with. And now you're substituting that time with maybe cooking dinner or maybe going on a walk or whatever it is. And so it all, what we're saying all stems back to the main thing. And that's just like finding those new positive influences or little tasks that you can do, because it ain't fucking going to change overnight. No matter how hard you work at it, it's going to be a constant battle. But that's life. We go through constant battles every single day. I mean, in all assets, in our jobs and our friendships and our relationships. So it's nothing new. It's nothing we don't know. It's just harder when you're going through those rough patches of life to be able to see maybe how easy the change could be if we just didn't tell ourselves no for that certain task, or we didn't tell ourselves no for that certain thing that keeps holding us or being that crutch for us to fall back on the bad path.
Yep. Because
there's so many people out there fucking hurting, bro. Like I guarantee you, friends or family of yours right now are holding things in that they're not talking to anybody about. And it's just sad, because like thinking of when I went through that dark path, I wasn't going to tell you. And I told you the reason, like, bro, I'm not going to tell you, because in my head, not saying you, but in my head, I was like, so many people come to me for that positive light. They're always like, Freddy, you got this, you got that, blah, blah, blah. And so like, how could I go to them and be like, fuck, I'm struggling? Then they're going to think I'm weak, but they come to me when they can't do it. And so the moral of the story is like fucking talk to people. But the more important thing is like if you're doing fucking good right now, or if you got something on your mind, like start reaching out to people and see how their life is. I started doing this recently just to like interact with people more. Dude, if I showed you some of these stories that I've had over the last week and a half, or conversations that I've had over the last week and a half, some of them are fucking sad as shit, bro. And like people are hurting out there. Like check in with people, whether you know them or you don't know them, because you don't know what's going through somebody's mind, or you don't know what they're dealing with. And it's sad. It's so sad.
I mean, people don't do that enough in general. Like, don't nobody. It's a weird like dynamic for people to check in with people just randomly.
Mm-hmm.
But I promise you, it's going to do just as much for you as it does for them. Like, sure, maybe you don't want to check in with everybody because then you're going to have all this negativity dumped on you. Like, check in with a person or two here and there. Like, you don't got to fucking do everybody you know at one time.
Yeah.
But it does benefit you too, because most of the time then they're going to reciprocate, and then you can have that opportunity. Like, when you are going through something to fucking, I don't even want to say dump it on, because that sounds like a negative thing, but like just have somebody to bounce it off of, so like you're not in it alone. Because that's the time when you're really stuck in that dark shit, is when you feel like you're through shit alone, when you really never are. You just isolate yourself so you feel alone.
Yeah. And there's been a lot of good. I mean, majority of the people, they're doing fine. They tell me stories, or they, say what's going on in their life. And a lot of it is good too. And it kind of like rejuvenates you. It's like, oh, fuck yeah. Like that kind of motivates me to go and do what I want next too. But it's really cool. Just check in with people, see how your people are doing. And don't be so selfish, because when it's all said and done, you're going to wish that you did it more often. I mean, we're on this earth together for a reason. And we have such powerful tools at our hands with these phones that we could start using them in the right way, instead of just sitting there scrolling aimlessly and watching things that don't really contribute much to our life other than pastime.
Yep. You got anything else? Or are we going to have a nice little short one today? I wouldn't even say it's short. It's over a half hour. So
yeah,
I feel like after we have a guest on, when we do a normal length one, it always feels short to me.
Yeah, no, I mean, I didn't have much on this one other than like those 2 points. And one, it's understand that you have goals, but don't let those goals hinder your like happiness and what you're approaching in life outside of those goals, and just work towards them day in and day out, and it will come true. But it doesn't matter what your goal is. It is going to change at the end of the day, because you're either going to hit it or not hit it. And because of that, you're going to alter it to go and tackle said other goal. And the other one is just to like check in on people, because life is too short. And so stop taking the little things for granted. The fucking sun shining, the rain, waking up in your apartment or house, being able to call somebody that you love. Because I will tell you, you will regret it if that time ever comes. And I don't want anybody to ever live through that or go through that, because the actual occurrence or whatever the thing is hard enough to deal with, and you don't need that added stress on top. So just live your best life, figure out that why, and keep going after your goals, baby. Have the desire to inspire.
That's what I was waiting for. Peace.